In volatile times, the only things that matter are last week and next week. I'm sure that you, like me, feel like you are hopping from one disruption to another, from the global pandemic to civil unrest to the Russia-Ukrainian war. And of course, now we're not just working from home, but we're going back to the office too. All of this is leading to feelings of intense overwhelm, anxiety, and confusion. And the only thing we can do right now to help ourselves is to actually slow down to now. We need to recognize that we are leading for survival, not for strategy, because strategy is all well and good until the world implodes around you. Now, I want you to imagine a tightrope, being a tightrope walker. It's certainly not something that I would choose to do, but I think that we're all walking some kind of tightrope or another right now. When you're walking on a tightrope, you can't look too far ahead of you, otherwise you're going to fall. In the same way as if you look backwards, you'll also take a tumble. The only thing you can do is take the next step. Focus on the next step and the next breath and the next and the next. And in that way, you will get to the end safely. So how do you slow down to now? Here's your solution. Every week you need to do a check-in with yourself, and you only need to focus on last week and next week. And you need to ask yourself, what worked for me last week? What did I love about last week? And what didn't work for me last week? And then you need to ask yourself, what are my priorities for next week? And do I need some help? Now, I know many of you employ highly skilled people in your teams, and now that you've got them, you need to keep them. So how do you do that? Well, you do exactly what I've just told you to do for you. You need to have a weekly check-in, a touch base with your important people. And this is not a job appraisal. It's not a job review. It's going to take you between 7 and 15 minutes per person. And you ask exactly the same questions. So what worked for you last week? What didn't work for you last week? What did you love about last week, which speaks to their strengths, which is really important? And then what are your priorities for next week? And how can I help you? This exercise is truly important because it sets up psychological safety. And 2 decades of research are telling us that that psychological safety is the thing that keeps people in their jobs more than a salary. And it's made up of people being seen by their leader, by focusing on their strengths and by focusing their work, by knowing who they are and what they're good at, and then showing that you care for them. These are the 3 things it's really important to convey in your interactions with every single staff member on your team if you want to retain them for longer. While I know that you've got long-term goals and strategies, forget the long-term for now while you're feeling so unbelievably overwhelmed. Just focus on last week and next week. Cut through the overwhelm and get to the point. And then you're going to have an engaged team who are going to produce and perform despite the stresses, the overwhelm, and the volatility that surrounds them. Remember that right now you're leading for survival, not strategy. If this message resonated for you, then do get hold of me at info@nikkibush.com and we can continue the conversation. My work focuses on speaking and consulting to senior leaders in business about matters of people, positioning themselves as leaders, and helping them and their teams to deliver on their promise. And if you don't want to miss any of my weekly video tips, please hit the red subscribe button below.